Coming up on What's the Buzz podcast.
Hello and welcome to the October installment of the D-Tools What's the Buzz podcast. I'm Jason Knott, Data Solutions Architect at D-Tools, and with me as always is my co-host Tim Bagonis, Chief Marketing Officer at D-Tools. Hey Tim.
Hey Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And as always, everybody out there listening, please hit the subscribe button for the What's the Buzz podcast in Spotify and your other podcast platforms. So Tim,
Great.
I know October is one of your favorite months.
It is. I love October. I love everything about it. I love Halloween. In fact, it's so spooky that this is a special audio only podcast because it was so scary we couldn't even get the cameras working. But I love Charlie Brown Christmas. I love Halloween. I also like October because now I live in the Atlanta area. We get a full 4 seasons, and fall is really awesome here. The weather's still nice, but the trees are boom, bam, lots of colors. And, CEDIA is behind us. It's the beginning of the fourth quarter. We can finish the year strong, prep for next year, and then, it's the pathway to the holidays. And, at this time of year, it's always good to think about, ramping up. What can we do to, run better businesses, connect with our partners, connect with our service suppliers, whether it be a software company such as ours, or like our guest today, a distributor like Blackwire Designs. I'm really psyched. Our guests today are Cody Crossland, Vice President of Sales, and Seth Johnson, Software Development Manager from Blackwire Designs. They're one of the leaders in the industry, and they know a lot about helping integrators achieve their goals. Hey, welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us, Tim.
Yeah, no, we love it. Well, before we kind of dive deep into how you work with integrators and how they can work closer with companies like yours to get an edge in the market, tell us a bit about how you guys came to be. What's the background of Blackwire Designs? What's the backstory?
Yeah, so Blackwire is actually celebrating our 15th year. We were founded in 2009. And kind of our specialty is that we were founded by and are staffed with former integrators, right? We took the approach of knowing that, as a dealer, as an integrator, you face unique challenges in your installs and your system designs, in your quotes every day, right? And we feel like having had the same experience as former integrators, we bring kind of a different approach to distribution. We're not just here to move boxes, but we're here to sell and support products that we believe in, products that we've tested and know are good products that can help solve particular problems on the job site and deliver enterprise-grade solutions to our customers. And then we also have value-added services that we bring to the table that can either save an integrator time or money or both whenever they do business with us.
That's great. It's ironic. We actually were founded. D-Tools was founded in 1998 by an integrator, Adam Stone, and he really started the company because he found a way to be able to produce drawings and proposals faster for his clients, and then realized that, hey, he can really help the industry by sharing the knowledge and then building the software platform to what it is today. So we share a lot of similar DNA in our shared mission to help integrators run better businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Seth, let me turn to you. What are you hearing right now about the state of the business out there from the integrators and the integration community?
Cody's definitely probably the better one to ask on that because he does talk to a lot more than I do. But I still have friends locally that all have integration businesses. And, well, I'm in Florida, so it may be an outlier, but everybody says we are slammed. We are weeks out. Right now there's been a couple of storms we've had. So everyone I know is just straight busy and really doesn't have time to think. I think they'd love to have more help. They would love to have more staff on hand. because the amount of work that we have here is quite honestly just kind of daunting at this point in time. Everything that was outside was broken, and then sometimes you have cases where stuff inside got broken, and especially the way we build houses here on the Keys and on the Barrier Islands, sometimes there's a kind of a space under it, a basement, if you will, a Florida basement. And you're not supposed to build there, but people totally finish that out in theaters and that kind of thing. So I can't imagine how many theaters have been washed away with the last couple of storms, considering every island, all the way from like Naples all the way north, has been flooded at some point. So there's definitely a lot of work out there for every tradesperson in Florida, including custom integrators. I know the guys I've talked to, like I said, I've just said they're so busy right now.
Yeah, I didn't know you were in Florida. It's been brutal. We obviously have seen that. It's funny, you growing up in Southern California. I worked for a tile shop for many years. We did tile, kitchens, baths, and every earthquake was a boom for business for us because every tile cracked. So it was horrible when these earthquakes happened, but it was big business for a lot of the trades. So Cody, same thing in the Phoenix area. Are you in the Phoenix area?
No, I'm actually in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And both, I would say that both markets are still pretty strong. Dallas-Fort Worth has been growing pretty rapidly for the last, I don't know, decade and a half or so, 2 decades. Places that used to be what you would consider out of the immediate Metroplex area are now part of that Metroplex area. And so you have to go further and further out in order to get kind of outside of the area. So with that growth, across the various price points that we have here in the Metroplex, there's a ton of integration companies, there's a ton of business, new construction's still going strong. I mean, even when we had the housing market problems in the late 2000s, it slowed down, but it didn't stop here in the Metroplex like it did in some other places. So I think we've been pretty fortunate with regards to, just the explosive growth in the DFW area. So, there's plenty of work to be done and a lot of opportunity to have it, and in some areas, where there's not any new land to build new houses on, what they'll do is they'll buy existing houses and tear them down and build something else there. I think I was seeing a video on the local news where Dak Prescott, who's, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, he had bought a home in Prosper, which is it used to be a little town right outside of the Metroplex, not so much anymore, but he recently tore that house down that he had for a couple of years there and is building a new house. So, they're doing it everywhere. And, it really just kind of depends on where you want to be and whether or not that you get the ability to build new construction or to remodel or to work with what you got. So there's a lot of different opportunities here.
Let's hope Cowboy fans don't know where that house is, because I know the way they've been playing lately. But
it's too late for that. It's too late for that. The news already covered it.
So, Cody, you touched on something that I really want to make the crux of the conversation today, and that's the value-added services that distributors bring to the market. It's not just moving boxes, as you said. It's training and design and business advice. And Blackwire Designs even goes even a step further with writing control drivers for integrators. So when you look at the breadth of services that you provide, what are some of the most important services that distributors provide in general, but then also specifically you provide to integrators?
Yeah, so I think in general, distributors can be a great partner to the integrator because the distributors should have an excellent working relationship with the vendors that they work with, so that they can help answer questions and steer the integrator into the right product, right? They may come to the distributor with questions about, hey, I've got a problem, here's X, Y, and Z information that I have. And so a lot of times the dealer will lean on the distributor to help them kind of try to problem solve it, which can be challenging at times whenever, we've never seen the project, we've never seen the plans in some cases. So a lot of times we're just kind of spitballing ideas just to kind of get them into the right products. But to take it a step further, Blackwire really wanted to focus on things that we can do that an integrator would normally have to do on the job site. But we're saying, hey, instead of you guys, buying networking equipment from us and spending 2 or 3 hours on the job site trying to get that set up, and firmware updating it and configuring it, why don't we do that for you, right? We've been doing it for decades with Just Add Power and video over IP systems like that, where an integrator could come to our website, they could have a pre-sales consultation and make sure that they're getting the right pieces and parts, and then they can also fill out a little questionnaire about it, and they tell us, hey, what are the source names, what are the display names, and things like that. What we would do is pull all those parts out of our warehouse, plug them into the switch that they're going to use, and pre-configure, firmware update, and label the whole system, and print a little connection guide that says, hey, plug this transmitter into this port on the switch, plug this receiver for this display into that port on the switch. And we took something that can be very intimidating if you've never done it before, an AV over IP system, and made it as easy as plug and play. So, taking the next step from that, we launched our network provisioning service earlier this year that does something very similar for an enterprise-grade networking system. So let's say you buy, a Firewall router from us. Let's say you buy a Netgear switch and Ruckus Wi-Fi access points. It's kind of the same concept where you fill out a survey about, hey, what do you want your networking IP address scheme to be? What do you want your Wi-Fi SSIDs and passwords to be? And we get this information from the dealer for the project, and we take the equipment that they've purchased before we ship it, we unbox it, we plug it in, we firmware update it. We put labels on the APs that say, hey, this is the master bedroom access point, or this is the waiting room access point, or Jim's office, right? And we put those labels on it, and we configure the Ruckus to our best practices guide that we all offer for free on our website, the Ruckus 101 guide, and we do that for them. So when the integrator gets this and they get to the job site, all they have to do is unbox it, and they can look at it and they go, okay, I know where this access point needs to go. They plug it in and power it up, and now it's ready to go out of the box, right? This gets them 99% of the way there. And for a lot of guys, it can be 100% of the way. And what that does is it enables integration companies, maybe they don't have somebody who's super strong in networking. That's great. You could take advantage of this free service, and now you have a leg up, right? You don't have to stay on top of networking. You don't have to hire a guy who's a networking expert. Or if you're a company who does have someone who is a networking expert, but maybe he's the only guy and he's on a service call, right? But you're trying to start a new project and deploy the Wi-Fi and get the network up to speed so you could start programming the automation system. When you take advantage of this service, you're deploying a turnkey networking solution, and you don't have to pull the network expert off the service call, right? You're able to better utilize your company resources and have multiple people in multiple places more efficiently. Or you could actually take a lunch or go home at a reasonable hour because we saved you 2 or 3 hours on the job site. Now you can get that time back.
Yeah, that's huge. That's really becoming a partner to them, and I'm sure that's probably helped a lot of guys either get into a new area, like you said, or just save their butt on a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even then, right? Now that's huge.
The labor saving is massive. I mean, if you're getting all the product in the box, it's already been labeled. You can just hand it out to, if somebody can read a label, that's about as qualified as they need to be for the job. You hand it to them, say, go mount this behind the TV and plug the Cat5 into it. And on the other end, you can be standing there, or the head technician can be standing there, looking at the directions, or not the directions, but the little sheet that Cody talked about, and just plugging the wires in where they're supposed to go on the switch. I mean, it I can't tell you how quickly that makes these jobs go. And that's already been burned in and tested. I mean, it's a huge hump that you have to do at the office, before you go out a week or two ahead and burn the system in. We've already done it for you. You can get there and get the whole video system or network system up and going before you have to leave.
Yeah, there's no risk of DOAs. There's no risk of trying to do a firmware update on the sketchy internet that maybe is at the job site. If you have internet, some places don't even have reliable internet when you're trying to get these systems installed. There's no risk of bricking a device because the firmware update failed in the middle of downloading that crucial file, where it says, please do not turn off. Very important, something. There's always that risk of something happening and you're sweating it out there.
So that sounds like an awesome service. So how's the adoption so far, and how are you letting your integrators know about it?
Yeah, so the adoption's been pretty great. Like I said, we launched it a little bit earlier this year, right before the CEDIA show. So we spent some time talking to the folks that stopped by our booth about it and showing it, and it was really, really well received by our integrators because they could see exactly how that can save them time and money in the field, right? And so we're hitting up our folks in our newsletter, letting them know that it's available that way, but also on our social media platforms as well. And we're always looking for feedback. If somebody decides that, hey, maybe it would be cool if, your system could do X, Y, and Z for us, we're always taking that into consideration and building on the service because it needs to be a living service, right? It should never be something that's fixed because, as we know from being former integrators, this technology stuff changes all the time, so we're updating our guide, we're updating recommended firmware that we like to use, changing settings, and as Wi-Fi 7 becomes more of an adopted thing here in the next couple of years, I think we're a little bit early on the hardware side. There's not a lot of clients just yet. But as we get there, our Ruckus 101 guide is going to update for best practices that we see once Wi-Fi 7 becomes more of a standardized thing. So, these configuration options that we see, are a living document to that extent too, where they'll always be updated and try to make them better and faster and, more reliable for our customers.
I know you guys won a couple of awards at CEDIA Expo for this network provisioning service, so congratulations to that. But I don't want to dig too deep in the weeds, but I do have some questions. So what if an integrator, first of all, what's the typical time frame when they want to deploy that service on your standpoint? Obviously, it's going to depend on the size of the project, I'm guessing, the number of components, but give us a sense of that time frame.
Sure. I mean, on a standard size project, let's say you've got, a router, a switch, and then maybe 10 or fewer access points, right? If the order gets placed in the morning before lunch and we've got everything in stock, which is our goal, is to always have these products in stock because we know how important it is because they're critical. The IP system, the network is the backbone of everything that happens in the house these days, right? So if they place the order in the morning and we get the information form that we need from them right at the time of ordering and it's before lunch, in most cases, the system will ship out same day, right? That's our goal. Now, more realistically, we know that, they may place an order and there may be a delay getting whoever knows the information about the project to fill the form out. Maybe they do it late in the afternoon or something like that. In a situation like that, it's going to ship the next business day in most cases.
That's fantastic. In general, when you looked at this networking area, is it an area, like you were describing that maybe they are short on the manpower there, or is it just a matter of in general that integrators aren't up to speed as to where they should be, or is it a combination of both?
It could be a combination of both for sure. And I want to make sure that we stress that this isn't an insult to anybody's intelligence, right? There are a lot of very knowledgeable people out there. Many people know more than us and, have probably forgotten more than we've ever learned about networking. But we saw it as an opportunity to help out the guys who maybe don't have a comprehensive staff. Maybe it's just a couple of people, on the team. Maybe they're growing and maybe they do have somebody who's strong in networking, but like I said, they're having to do other things. The small integration companies all the employees wear many hats, right? And so that guy who may be good at that, he may be over a meeting with a new customer trying to close a job because he's also the sales guy, right? So we were thinking about the best ways that we can help our customers, and the easiest return on the investment is allowing us to do things that save the integrator time and money. And so our video over IP configuration service, our network provisioning service, and even our Blacklight LED design tool. These resources are all things that we decided to share our knowledge about so that we could get these integrators, our customers, a leg up and just say, hey, what if we could help you be more efficient, save you time, save you money, so that you can get on to doing the things that we can't do for you, right? We can't hang a TV or, calibrate a projector or anything like that necessarily, right? Some of those things have to be done on site. And so we're enabling them to have the time back so that they can do those things and get paid, get the job done.
At heart, we're integrators as well, and we like automation. So the faster, the only thing that's going to speed us up right now is automating some of these things, and we're automating the input of the forms and the reports, and heck, automating a lot of the programming and everything. So it's a matter of it's a matter of just finding those efficiencies. It might not make sense for an integrator who does, 1 or 2 video distribution jobs a year, but we do a lot every year. We do many video distribution systems every year, and it makes sense for us to be able to put those together and ship those out pre-configured and ready to go for integrators to take advantage of having that expertise and everything on the back end before the product even ships out.
Very cool. Very cool. So let me move on to another subject. Kind of, what are you hearing, and what kind of product categories? You obviously mentioned network being, the engine that drives the car, and video distribution, AV distribution. But what are some of the areas where you're seeing real strength in the market right now from a product category standpoint?
Seeing, lighting is still a pretty big popular topic these days. We got involved with lighting a couple of years ago. Heck, I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago now, Cody. I can't remember. And I know that we teamed up with American Lighting and have quickly ran into a lot of the questions that we couldn't figure out, what dealers couldn't figure out how to put all these parts and pieces together. They've got beautiful products, but they're all parts and pieces, and you got to put it all together. It's got to be right. All the specs have to match. All the numbers have to match. All the math has to add up. And if you do any of that wrong, you get blue smoke at the end of the day. Like, something's going to fry, and you're going to be upset. Your customer's going to be upset, and you'll probably never do lighting again. And so, like, we identified that. We said, you know what, we'll make a LED configuration tool to help with that process. And it's been great. I mean, we've definitely seen a pickup in lighting sales over the years, and a lot of interest in that category. At least that's the one I'm most familiar with. I'm sure Cody has a pretty good answer too.
Yeah, I think lighting's a good indicator of that, as something that didn't really exist in our channel until the last couple of years. And to kind of joke about that point with us preferring to use automation and finding ways to save time and money for our customers, we like it on the internal aspect of all the tools and utilities that we use too. And so when we first started selling lighting, that kind of became my curse. I was the guy that figured out, how to do some of the specifications and make sure all the parts and pieces work together. And then that's what I spent all of my time doing. And I got to a point where I didn't want to do it anymore. I did it all day, every day, and I was getting burned out. And Seth was like talking to me one day, and I said, look, we got to figure out a way to automate me out of a job. Right. I don't want to do this anymore as far as the lighting design stuff goes. So that gave birth, to the Blacklight tool, was because we wanted a way internally for us to be able to quote these faster and more accurately, so that the tape light didn't turn into a conversation of back and forth and, an hour and a half on the phone trying to lock down some of the information. We made all of those guidelines and things that we learned the hard way about, power supply, overhead percentages, and maximum length of run tape, and all those different things, and kind of rolled it into a utility with an easy to use interface that now a dealer can go onto our website and use that tool and crank out a linear lighting system design for a house. And they've never done it before, but they could get, a quote done for a house in probably 10 to 15 minutes of just point and click. right?
That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you also help your guys kind of with general business advice and operational advice? So if they've never done lighting before and they're interested in that's a different discipline. Is there different business model that they may want to think about? Do you help them with those types of questions?
No, I think at this point, everybody's business is so different. And, even then it's so different regionally, right? Some guys may do it as a value add to the existing services that they have. And some integrators, I know they have their own like electrical department, right? They're fortunate enough to be AV and electrical. And so there's really tight coordination between there. So those guys can get into specifications and designs that go beyond the 4 cans and a fan in a room, right? They can then bring in lighting layers and things like that, where it's a little bit next level stuff, and they can use Blacklight to do the linear tape light designs and things like that. So we kind of stop short of business services and business consulting, right, to that degree, but we're here to help them as far as choosing the right products, specifying that, and how to go from this is something that I'm interested in and I've never done it before to I'm confident because I've done this before and I know how to use the utilities, and we're giving them the confidence that they need to be able to just hit the ground running with it.
That's awesome. So we're coming up to, close to our time here. So then, okay, so following on that, so how can integrators work with you? How can they start say, hey, I'm interested in this. I want to start working with these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Our website's blackwiredesigns.com. They can go there and check out some of the products and services that we offer. It's super easy to get an account. They can start a chat with us right there, drop a support ticket or give us a call. But they can set up an account for free. We just need a little bit of their business information just to make sure that they are an integration company. We don't work with end users. But once we get that initial conversation rolling, it's just a matter of getting set up and getting their needs taken care of.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jason, do you have anything else?
No, I just want to, you guys you think out of the box. And that's why I think is so ingenious about what you've done here with these services. And I always think back to that, I'll call it one of your trademark services where you included the snacks in the shipments for the integrators. And then when COVID came around, you had the N95 and the hand sanitizer in there. I just thought that was ingenious, and created a real partnership feeling, and more than a feeling, but real partnership with the integrators out there. So congratulations and kudos to you guys for thinking out of the box with these services, really broadening what it means to be a distributor in this industry. So no, that's all I got, Tim. I'll throw it back to you.
All right. So thanks so much, you guys, for joining us today. It was great to learn about, your success and how you're helping your integrators. You're welcome back anytime. And we've loved having you. So quick reminder for everyone, if you like what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button for the What's the Buzz podcast. We're on Spotify, other podcast platforms. You can watch us on the D-Tools YouTube channel. And Jason and I will be back next month with another topic. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, guys.